What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined again by my dad Sean, and today at Reactions to the Classics, we are going to be ranking Led Zeppelin's albums from worst to best. We've recently completed their entire catalog of reviews. You can check those out in the link down below, and we also ranked their top 50 songs, and so naturally it just was like, okay, let's rank the album. Going through, listening to them again, and kind of preparing for this video, it became apparent to me that I don't think Led Zeppelin ever really released a bad album.
No, they did not.
There were some that weren't, obviously as quality as their best work, but I think that's a testament to them, and also the fact that they didn't stretch it out after Bonham passed away and came out with some subpar quality like you see with some groups.
There's beauty, Trey, and knowing when to end it. Obviously, the Beatles ended it quite soon, but Zep didn't stretch it out either. I would argue you're better off having 8 pretty good to really good albums than have 25 where you got to pick out half of them. They're mediocre.
Absolutely. So we're just going to kind of trade off here. I don't know your list. You don't know mine.
No, this is going to be a surprise.
We'll get rocking with number 8 for me is going to be Presence. Besides Achilles' Last Stand, which we ranked really high up there, and then Nobody's Fault But Mine is good. Everything else is just kind of okay for me. Nothing that I particularly want to go and listen to the whole record again, aside from those 2 tracks. But it's still an okay album.
Wow. Well, we did not compare lists, but I think this was kind of easy on this part. Number 8 for me was also Presence, and Achilles' Last Stand for me is the only standout track on this album for me. The rest of it, it's not horrible. We talked about it. It's just nothing that I'm going to ever go back and listen to again. To set the stage for a little bit, if we remember, they recorded at the end of 1975. Plant had been in the bad car accident. He's in a wheelchair. He's recuperating in Malibu. Page comes and visits him. There's only 1 song credited to the whole band. The rest are Page and Plant. Then Page drags Plant over to Germany, and they record this thing in a couple weeks. And I think all of that kind of plays into the difficulty of getting this album out. It was kind of a testament to their abilities. They could even put this out. Trey, my number 7's Houses of the Holy. I was really surprised. It's number 148 on the Rolling Stones top 500 albums of all time. This is the album that largely abandoned their previous music's weighty, dark blues in favor of a clean, expansive rock sound. Page's sharper, brighter guitar tone kind of stands out. It's also likely the most eclectic musically of their albums, according to many critics. I really like the opener. The song remains the same. Fantastic instrumentation. There's a few songs on here that are real standouts for me.
Yeah, my number 7 is going to be In Through the Outdoor, the last record they ever came out with. Even though it does have arguably their worst track in Hot Dog, it's got some great ones. I especially like All of My Love and Fool in the Rain. Those are quite standout, as well as In the Evening. So that's my number 7, and then my number 6 is Houses of the Holy. I think that you got No Quarter in there. Did You Make Her?
That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite songs that they have.
Yeah.
Total.
And then you also have The Ocean and The Song Remains the Same. You got 2 of their worst tracks, I think, back to back with The Crunge and Dancing Days.
The Crunge is awful. That's in my notes again. On further listen, it's awful.
Yeah, exactly. So there's 8 tracks. 2 of them are, I think, 2 of the worst they ever came out with, and then 4 are really, really high quality. So that's my number 6. What's yours?
My number 6 is In Through the Outdoor. So we just flipped these, so nothing real controversial right now. I think to remember on this is when, Plant's son had died, Carrick, and they had fled from Britain and for the taxation stuff, so they couldn't tour in Britain itself. So I think all that led to also some difficulty. I mean, these guys went through some stuff, guys, later on in their career. And this is the album that spent the most weeks on top of the U.S. chart for them. It tied with Zep II and Physical Graffiti. And I really like All My Love and Fool in the Rain. They're the standouts for me here. The critics were pretty mixed on this when it came out, but it was a fantastic commercial success. Now, here's where we may split. I don't know, because I'm not even looking at your list down there. My number 5 is their debut, Led Zeppelin, self-titled. It's number 29 on the Rolling Stones top 500 of all time. I liked it about the same when I went back all these months later and listened to it, but I didn't have great headphones at the time we first. So listening to that, the instrumentation on this is so freaking good. So I can imagine if you're listening to it when it came out, how it kind of blew your mind.
Oh yeah, and for my number 5, going to be probably a little controversial. I know a lot of people have this as one of their top 1 or 2, but I got to go Led Zepp II for me. It's I think got the best opener they ever did with Whole Lotta Love. You got Ramble On. You got that great Bonham solo with Moby Dick. It just a lot of solid tunes in here. Heartbreaker, one of the best solos Page ever did. It's just pretty consistently great from start to finish, and probably the peak in my mind of what they were just instrumentally. And Page is just a standout MVP on here. And then going on to my number 4 is Led Zepp III, and we have that A side, which is more rocking with Celebration Day, Immigrant Song, Since I've Been Loving You, one of Plant's best vocal performances. And then we go into that B side, which is a little bit more acoustic. We got like Tangerine.
One of my favorite songs of theirs of all time.
Oh yeah, Gallows Pole is another
awesome story.
Just fantastic, kind of underrated.
That's
Zep
the way.
Yeah,
that's the way. Also
that's
a favorite.
Right. So I do like how the album's kind of split on that regard, and we saw a bit of a sweeter side to Zep in that B side. So
agree, and I really enjoy that side of it. It's also my number 4, and this is where the switch comes, and it's more democratic in the process of songwriting and stuff. And I think that might be why we have those two different sides there to it. And my number 3 is Led Zeppelin II, which you've already had. It's 75 on the Rolling Stones top 500 albums of all time. Their first album to hit number 1 in the UK and the US. I really like Thank You, Plant, the drums, the acoustic. The guitar on Heartbreaker is crazy good. What do you got at 3?
Number 3 for me is going to be Led Zepp I, the debut. From the first time I heard it, you hear those drums and that opening riff.
Yeah.
Good Times, Bad Times. You got Dazed and Confused, absolute classic. Communication Breakdown.
You Shook Me.
Oh yeah,
tremendous track.
The Biting Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. Just an introduction to the world to Zep. Just just a very big blues influence. Just solid, just instrumentation from start to finish. So that is my number 3, and then.
So well, hold on, we can take a pause now because. Apparently, Trey, we have the same top 2, which...
yeah, that's right.
That's crazy. Okay.
So my number 2 is going to be the double album, Physical Graffiti.
That is mine as well.
Okay, so we got the same top 2. Physical Graffiti is just kind of a tour de force. There's a little bit of everything in there, though I think it dips a bit in quality on that 4th side.
I have the same exact thing in my notes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But there's too many quality tracks for me to put it any lower, from the epically long In My Time of Dying to the sweet Down by the Seaside.
In the Light.
Oh yeah,
In the Light is so good. And then of course Kashmir, which is iconic. Yeah,
one of their biggest ones. And then 10 Years Gone.
10 Years Gone.
Custard Pie even's got a little bit of a nice Trampled Underfoot. There, I could go on, but I just think for what it is, just a double album, throwing it all out there, I think I gotta have it in that 2 hole.
I agree with you. It's number 73 on the Rolling Stones top 500 albums of all time. I agree with you. I think the double album is side 4, and here's what happened if we want to rewind back to the story. They had 2 songs too many. And instead of cutting them out, they went back and pulled several songs that they'd recorded for some of their other albums, and they stuck them in there and make the double album. And I think if they could have figured out a way to squeeze all this on one album, it might have given the number 1 album on the Led Zepp albums of all time a run for its money. Led Zepp IV. Can't be anything else, man. What a ride.
Oh, man. I mean, it's just 8 songs.
That's part of what, that they do well. Not to talk, I know you're about to make.
Yeah.
That's what they did well. Besides, obviously, the last album, which they never intended to make a double album, it's just the circumstance. They were very good at not making 14 songs, 12 songs. They tried not to throw filler on there. And the albums are still anywhere between 40 to 44 minutes, so you're still getting your money's worth. They're just not putting garbage on it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, from the first side with Black Dog, Rock and Roll, obviously, in my opinion, their best song, even if you've been hearing it for 40 years, you might think it's overplayed, but Stairway.
It's still just, it's unbelievable. It's sold over 37 million copies, so obviously other people agree with us on this.
Just unbelievable. To one of my favorite tracks, the ending when the levee breaks.
Yeah,
the
it's
bottom,
awesome.
Going to California. That sweet.
No, that song
acoustic
is great.
Battle of Evermore with just a sweet folk tinge. So for me, it is the clear cut number one.
Yeah,
And I know that's not a controversial pick.
No,
or
but
anything,
it's number one for a reason, right? In most people's stuff. And, I think it is interesting. It falls right smack dab in the middle of their discography. Album, obviously, 4 of 8. I think they were firing on all cylinders. Tragedy hadn't really struck them yet. It was about to. They still finished quite well, but yeah, this album is among the best albums of all time. It's only 69 on the Rolling Stones top 500 of all time. Come on, Rolling Stones. But it was a really fun journey going through Zep. Trey, as you said, all our reviews are in the link below. I had never really heard much Zep in my life. I know you were a bigger fan than me going in, although neither one of us had heard most of any of these albums. So I'm definitely a Zep fan now and really appreciate their place in music history.
Oh, absolutely. And let us know what your rankings are in the comments down below. Always fun to just kind of discuss this.
Yeah, and I don't think we'll get too much controversy out of this. I think we're way out of the box on this one.
But yeah, appreciate it, y'all. Be sure to hit that big red subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. We have reviews, live streams, rankings, a bunch of fun stuff. If you're a fan of music, I think you'll be a fan of this channel and its great community. And until next time, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Happy listening, my friends, and we will see ya.